What's on Tap was created in response to the systemic shock our industry was facing due to COVID-19. We wanted to compile resources, shine a light on the good things the industry was doing for one another, provide a sense of camaraderie during the time of separation, and help raise funding for those in need. Little did we know 2020 had something else up its sleeve. While many of us were hunkered down from the pandemic, the video of the murder of George Floyd at the hands of police officers came to light. Already on the heels of other high-profile injustices against Black people, the Black Lives Matter movement swelled like never before. TappedIn, the creators of the What's on Tap video podcast, posted on social media a declaration that we wanted to stop, listen, empathize, and act on this issue. This is our listening phase. We decided to pause our coronavirus-focused podcast episodes and listen to what it is like to be Black in the hospitality industry. The next few episodes will be a series of interviews with people who have these unique and personal perspectives. We are seeking to better understand how our Black brothers and sisters in the hospitality industry might experience life differently. We are committed to listening with an open mind and asking questions with answers that might make us uncomfortable so we can learn and grow. And if you have your own personal stories of being Black in the hospitality industry, we would love to hear from you. Please send a note to what'sontap@gettappedin.io or leave a comment on our social media or DM us on Instagram at @get_tapped. Hey everyone, we're excited to bring you part 2 in our series, Black in the Hospitality Industry. On today's show, we have an award-winning chef originally from New Orleans and a restaurateur who has a Cajun-themed restaurant concept. Chef Brian Jupiter, executive chef and partner of Frontier and Ina Mae Tavern in Chicago, and Kurtis Lott, co-owner and chief operator of Cajun Boil Bar, with 4 locations in the Chicagoland area. These restaurant industry vets provide unique perspectives and share their own experiences of what it's like to be Black in the hospitality industry. We really appreciate their time and openness, and we hope you do too. Before we get started, we would love it if you could hit the subscribe button or follow us on Instagram and Twitter at @get_tapped, and on Facebook at facebook.com/get.tappedin. Cheers.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Cheers. We got our first sponsored podcast by the Black Horizon Brewing Company, so thank you guys from over there. Got some great beer, and thank you both for being here. We've got, the first time ever, we've got one of our clients is one of our guests, so Kurtis Lott from the Cajun Boil Bar. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Chef Brian Jupiter, this is, we're here at the Frontier. Thank you for hosting us, and thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. So, What's on Tap is a podcast that we created in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and how it was negatively affecting the hospitality industry. And so we've done a handful of those shows, and as not that that is going away anytime soon, but there's a lot of other things happening in the industry and in our world, and so this is kind of our first step outside of that very specific box, and we wanted to address the issue of being Black in the hospitality industry. I've always thought of the hospitality industry as a very welcoming and diverse group, but then through all of this, it made me take a pause and say, maybe that's not true for everybody. Maybe everyone's having different experiences. And we did a post for TappedIn about stop, listen, empathize, and act. And we didn't want that to be lip service. We wanted to do that. And this is our first step of listening. We wanted to sit down with a handful of people that have been in the industry. You guys are both veterans. And see what your experiences have been. So, let's first, Kurtis, do you want to introduce yourself and kind of give us a background of where you've been in the industry and where you're at now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we mentioned earlier, Kurtis Lott with Cajun Boil Bar. Our concept, we're pretty much a seafood in a bag. But we had a different twist in your conventional places. Obviously, it's all about not only our sauce, but it's also about our vibe, drinks, and everything like that. And so we've been in business now for a year and a half. And within that year and a half, we've opened 4 stores. Oak Brook being the first, Orland Park being the second, Oak Park third, and then Joliet. And so a little bit of how I got into it a little bit was, I've been in the industry since I was in high school. My first gig actually was a server at Denny's in high school. And so it just never left me. I've always been in the restaurants from then, and then, went on to manage and then own my own places. And this is actually the third style of restaurant that I've owned. So I had quite a bit of experience, kind of bleeded. It's like a lifestyle. It's not really a job. It's a lifestyle. And
you said you're at 4 restaurants, and in a year and a half, we really got 4 done in 1 year.
Yeah,
it's insane. And they're not small, little, simple. They're big.
They're large restaurants. Total, over the year revenue, just with 4 restaurants, and they're opening within that year. But we're a $12 million brand, just like that. So we look for exciting.
And somehow you manage to be cool and calm every time I talk to you. No matter, right in the middle of an opening, you're always just like, "Hey, what's up?" Just like calm. Like I'm more stressed than you are about it.
It's a lifestyle. There's this. I don't know what you call them, motivator speaker, YouTube sensation by the name of Esther Hicks, and she says, "You'll never." Be able to get it done, and you'll never be satisfied, and you'll never be able to get it done. So if you just understand that everything will be okay, and you're just not going to get it done, and you just keep progressing, you keep chipping away.
You can shoot for perfection, but you can't expect it.
And she said you'll never mess up either. Think about it. No matter what you do, it's going to set you up for something that was meant to happen anyways. Yeah. So you'll never get it wrong.
Just do your part, and it'll work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. And if you realize that, then just understand that you could try to limit your mistakes and do what you want to do. And that's the motto I live within that last year, because it was a lot going on, and people like, "Are you crazy? 4 restaurants?" And it was like, but I just went through it. Like if you Michael Phelps, for instance, they're like, "Man, dude, how did you do all of those events, swim that fast? Like, what did you do?" And he always talks about when he's in the water, all he's doing is kicking. He's not worried about who's on the side of him, and he's just running. He's just swimming his race, right. And he's in the water and he's just going. And he doesn't think about. He thinks about 1 lap at a time. He doesn't think about the total thing. Sure. That's how you have to do it.
Some good advice, and good people have to follow up with that. And Chef Jupiter, I remember coming here in the early years. We've got a mutual friend, Paul. How did you guys know each other?
It's just the industry.
Just the industry? Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us back where you came from, which is interesting. You're in New Orleans, and you got a New Orleans style restaurant. So tell us how you got here to where you're at today.
Yeah. So I'm from New Orleans, but I've been in Chicago now since 2003. And so I worked at quite a few places here. Narcisse, Open Bella Lounge, Le Palm Rouge. I taught at Washburn Culinary School for a touch. And then I opened Frontier, and now I have Ina Mae Tavern as well. And so Frontier, all the smoked meats, whole animals, adventurous eating. And then Ina Mae is all your New Orleans stuff, so po' boys and fried boiled seafood.
And are you the culinary concept behind that? Did you come up with these your concepts, the food and the menu?
Yeah, all the food's mine. I have a partner, and it's just he and I in the mix, and so all the food recipes and everything, that's all on me.
And we have to mention this too. You're also on Best Chef, the Great Lakes Cooking Channel, America's Best Bites.
Oh yeah, I did that thing. I've done. I've done quite a few of those little shows and stuff. And so it's been a fun little adventure probably the last 5 years or so.
And it also got you James Beard semifinalist for the best chef in the Great Lakes.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
that was unexpected. Unexpected, but very exciting. And so it's just another thing to keep me motivated to keep pushing. So.
And are there plans for additional ones? Or are you happy with 2 right now?
No. You always have to look for more. And so I like to kind of take my time with finding spaces, and they have to look the right way for me. And so I get a lot of stuff thrown at me, but we just kind of move a little bit slower.
Very selective.
Yeah.
What was this spot before you guys took it over?
It was a place called Caroche, and they were here for about 20 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so it was like an Italian place. They had a little, they did a buffet, all-you-can-eat brunch buffet. That was really popular over here. And it was a husband and wife, and so they got the building when it was basically condemned by the city, and they fixed it up, and so they used to live upstairs while they built the bar, and then they ran the bar for some time, ended up converting upstairs to a bar, and so they had a good little business over here for some time.
And you guys built this whole patio out here, right?
Yeah, we added this on, so it was ground level. What they had over here, and so the patio was the biggest project of all of the whole build out, but it doubled our capacity basically.
Yeah, I mean, especially we were talking about in the COVID situation where you could use this as an outdoor space.
Patio space
is very valuable. It went from extremely valuable in Chicago to godsend.
Essential.
Yeah.
Oh, essential. Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. And then Ina Mae, that looks like that building's been around. It's got some history to it as well.
Yeah, Ina Mae was a bar. It was the Beechwood Inn for a while, and so it was just a cool dive bar, part of the neighborhood. And for a New Orleans concept, we wanted it to kind of feel like New Orleans, and finding that space sitting on that corner, it had to fit.
And what about the name?
Ina Mae is my great grandmother.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So, paying homage to the family, and the cooking, tips that I've gotten over the years. So,
yeah. So you also went to culinary school, but great grandma, that you've been trained kind of in the family too.
I went to culinary school. Back then it was like culinary school was like the way to go. I encourage people to work early and often, figure it out, because you get yourself in a financial hole that doesn't necessarily pay off, and I think we're seeing that now. And culinary schools are really struggling because of that. You get in a hole, and
they cost what Harvard costs, but you come out making $12 an hour.
You're not getting paid doctor money, and so. And nor should you, to be honest with you.
Right.
It's not preparing you for that, type of responsibility. It's preparing you to
you gotta still work your way up.
You still have to get in and learn it. So I mentor a lot of high school students and stuff, and I try to tell them that if you wanted to go to college, that's fine, but don't go to college for culinary. Go to college for business, or go to college for something else. A degree that you could use in multiple ways, and then work in a restaurant while you're getting that degree.
Right.
And two birds, one stone.
Exactly. And so you're gonna have to be doing something to make money anyway, and so why not?
Yeah.
You start to figure it out that way. So I did go to culinary school, but I got an offer to move to Chicago right after I graduated culinary school, and so that's what brought me here.
Yeah. And was that Narcisse?
Yeah, that was Narcisse.
Yeah. We almost missed each other right there. So it's been an interesting connection there.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot is happening now in America. Ever since obviously it's been present for a long time, but the George Floyd I think was the tipping point for most people. Even though there was the Ahmaud Arbery case and a lot of other things that happened. So I guess I just want to get your feedback of what's going on, and we'll start with Kurtis. What's going on in America right now, and are you happy to see that? Are you, what are your thoughts?
I don't think I really ever thought about if I was happy or not to see what was going on. I think it came so suddenly, and if you sat back and thought about it and thought to react, then chances are you was going to miss, because it happened rapidly, and even now we're still very much different than what we were 2 months ago. We're very much different than where we were even a month ago. Think about it. Black Lives Matter is on the bottom tagline of everything right now, right? That was like a month ago. And now it seems like Black Lives Matter. Like it's on everything. And that whole movement and all the protests have totally changed the way we view life in America and so forth. And so everything is always changing. And so am I happy with it? I'm just going with it. Yeah. And like we talked about earlier, there's nothing that's really wrong for you because everything is for you. So if you just understand that I'm just going to go with the flow, then it's actually for us. So I like what we're doing. I'm loving that. Even as black restaurant owner, in Chicago, and anywhere, I hope that we can, as a people, understand that it's not us against the world, but it's time for us to be a part of the world. And let's learn from this. Say, hey, now we got our brothers and sisters from other cultures, right? We don't have to have this chip on our shoulder that says, well, it's us against everybody. It's not. It's really all of us. And let's move from there, and then let's grow and let's better ourselves. Yeah. So that's how I feel about all of this. And with COVID and everything, it's not really going anywhere. So if we could say, oh yeah, let's just get past this epidemic. We just have to learn to live with it.
Right. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Well, it was kind of perfect timing for it to be COVID, that something would happen that would wake everyone up, because in a normal day, a normal week in America, you have school, you have sporting events, you have concerts, you have so many things that can occupy your mind. And so, whereas, George Floyd, that's not something new. We've seen it year after year after year. And so, and we've also seen it be something that's, a 6-month thing, and then it kind of just goes away, and still nothing happened, but this, with the world basically being on pause, it was in the face of everybody. And I think it's great because when you see the response of people in different countries, that didn't happen with Sandra Bland and Tamir Rice, and when it was still Trayvon Martin, and so I think that it's great that everyone had to stop, and you were kind of forced to watch it,
And even the order, it would have been reversed. Mm-hmm. Different outcomes. Like it's just really almost like something was set up. Mm-hmm. Stop, pause.
Yeah, and so it's good to see. It's good to see that it's an outpouring of support for Black businesses, and it's good to see that we're positioning ourselves to really fight for some change. But I think that it's also important that we don't get fooled by just the over applauding acts right now. Like you said, Black Lives Matter is on everything, but some brands, some companies, they think that just adding that hashtag gives them the pass, and I think that it's still very important that you make people talk about it.
Right.
And so, social media is this monster of information and opinions and, platforms that people have. And me personally, during this time, I paid very close attention to people that didn't say anything at all, because those people are the ones that you really need to be speaking up, on our behalf, whether that's, whites or, Hispanics or, Asians, whoever's non-Black, you should be speaking up for Black right now. And if
Yeah.
you're not, you don't just get away with the pass of making your page blacked out for a day, or hashtagging Black Lives Matter. Like, what else are you really doing?
And that's the exact conversation I had with our social media manager. I'm like, I don't want this to be like okay, everyone react cheap, like do the same post everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got to be like that. To me, feels so fake. Mm-hmm. And even if people agree with it, but it just felt shallow at best, fake at worst, shallow at best. So it's like, what can we do next? And then, have these conversations. And I'm excited to learn just what you guys have gone through in your personal lives, and maybe change what I think of this industry.
I definitely feel like this, more than any other movement, has changed for the better. I don't think this is like, going away, and I literally really believe that it just feels different. And just like you said, the overall support. So that's why I would love for us to just take this moment and not just continue to have the poor me mentality or, please. Like, let's take this opportunity and say, okay, cool. Like, how can we move forward? How can we become more a part and engraved into things? We talk about Black restaurants and Black food, right? It's still a stigma for someone, like, overall in the whole nation, right, to say, I want soul food, for instance, right? You still can't really have a soul food restaurant in River North, right? It's not really cool or trendy or acceptable, or it's not cooked in every household. Soul food Sundays, right? We don't have soul food Sundays in every single household. However, when you have a culture like, the Hispanic or Mexican culture, you do tacos, Taco Tuesday. It's ingrained now in our culture. It's ingrained in every household. That's where I would like for us to be acceptable. And everyone's, Taco Tuesday, every brand, every household is doing it. So let's do it the same for Blacks as well. And that's what I want it to become more of. I want us to take this and be more acceptable for them to come to the Black restaurant. Sometimes you're hitting. Sometimes one of the struggles has been, even a Black restaurant owner, even just a few years ago, you gotta have to be in the background, because if they know that this place is Black owned, then they're gonna shy away from it. Or if they know that there was a Black influence in it, then it was going to, people were going to shy away from it. So I would love for us to take this opportunity now and say, you know what I mean? Like, I've come here several times, and I never knew that, he was the chef / owner of here. I had no idea. Yeah. And so, like, I would love for us to put a face to things more and it be acceptable.
Next week we're going to be talking with Jeremy from Chicago, Black Beats.
Yeah, that's my boy.
He was in. Yeah, he's a great guy. I've only talked to him on the phone, but it does seem a little bit strange that you have to find those. Like, everyone's posting stuff and tagging it now, but before, I guess it wasn't as obvious. You didn't really know, or if you did know, you just assumed that it wasn't in the Wicker Park and the River North.
True story. When we first opened up in Oak Brook, we all know what Oak Brook is, and when we first opened there, like, my staff and everyone would say, of course my partner's there, they're Chinese, and we were saying, how do we do this in Oak Brook? Should we kind of like put a different face to it? And people, the first crowd that came out to Oak Brook were locals from the Villa Park and Oak Brook Terrace area, and they were white, and we actually experienced a lot of pushback. I remember this one table that came in, and they were enjoying themselves. They're like, oh my gosh, this food is good, literally enjoying themselves. And they were asked the young lady, they were like, my server, they said, who owns this place? And she pointed it was pointed to me. She's like, oh, that's him, that's Kurtis. And then almost immediately, everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. And they were like, this place, and it was like, whoa. And we could not believe it right before our eyes, how it flipped. You were enjoying yourselves when you thought it was something else, right? But once you figure out that it was black owned, then it was a problem. And so that's what we had to deal with before. And this movement, I don't think that's going to really happen. It may happen sometimes, but now all the people, especially in Chicago, all the restaurants in Chicago that have a lot of black influence, they're able to come out and be able to see and say, damn, there's some geniuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you guys? Have you, obviously Kurtis didn't know, but you're a chef, so naturally you're probably spending more of the time in the back of the house anyways. Did you ever promote it as such? I mean, obviously you get a lot of press, so your face is over a lot of places.
Yeah. So I mean, it's never been, we've never felt the need to even, push it out as that, because I'm at the forefront of so much stuff, and so. And
you're in a city, which is different as well.
Yeah, without a doubt, that's definitely different, and so it's like a lot of people knew, so yeah, I mean, it's a different. You feel a difference now. Even from white folks that's coming in, that's like, we're here to support because of you, and so, and you like to see that. I mean, because, I think you said this earlier, at the end of the day, we're all going to be, right? And so we all, we have to decide how we're going to live together, and without acknowledging how messed up it has been in the past, you can't ever expect for this whole, happy family type of thing to happen,
Right.
And I think that one of the main issues is that people would rather forget about it than to acknowledge it and say, you know what, we were wrong, we don't know how we can make it right, but we were wrong, and we want you all to be, successful moving forward.
Sure. That's the first step.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, and I think that part is going to be like pulling teeth to get that.
But can we accept, as a people, that apology and do move forward?
Well, I think you're always going to have blacks that's not willing to let that go, but I think that if our people are stronger, meaning if we do have opportunities to have businesses and have banks and have, more financial stability as a people, then I think that it makes it easier to forgive that. You're not gonna forgive it if you still, are down at the bottom of everything, and you don't see any light at all. Then no, I'm not forgiving that. But if that part happens, and you see some wealth equality, start to level out, and that would take hundreds of years to really get there. But our
couple generations, yeah.
Our communities have to get back stable for us, I think, as an entirety to take an apology.
Whose responsibility? Mm-hmm. Whose responsibility is it? Because I don't want to say it's somebody else's responsibility all the time. I think some help, right, from them, but who's ultimately responsible for our communities and us getting to that?
Well, it's us. I mean, and our people with money, and our people with businesses, we have to kind of go into those neighborhoods and build them, and so, I'm always thinking of concepts, and I think that you create concepts for your neighborhoods, and you create concepts for me based off of what you have and what it looks like and things like that. It has to fit. I don't like forced concepts. I think you feel it as soon as you walk into the room.
Sure you do.
And so, if I have a block in Bronzeville, which was, the mecca of black entertainment in Chicago, and I can say, Kurtis, I know that you got the seafood boil game on lock. I got 2,500 square feet. You think you want something over here?
Yeah.
And I have Black and Bold Coffee that's black owned. Talk to them. Hey, I got 1,000 square feet. You want to put a little coffee shop? And you start to build these stretches where you have, not just a currency exchange and liquor store and a church. You have business after business, and you got a little bank, and you know, like that's where
just get an anchor in building.
Like all of my young kids that work with me, you know, I'm talking about high school and stuff, is they got to get bank accounts. You know, because they come to me and they can't get my check, I gotta run the currency.
Yes.
Stop that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go, and so like I have the president of the bank over there, and they say, you know, I call them, I have somebody come. You know, so you have to start that. You know, and all of that stuff is very valuable.
I mean, yeah, if you're only getting 65 cents of the dollar and you're already getting paid less, like that's a terrible way to dig out. It's,
I mean, and it's horrible, but that's what they know, that's what's been taught, and that's what's in our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know, so you talk about when you really have to have impact that's gonna last for a generation or better. You know, you have to start at the guts of it all. You know, and so buying real estate and really trying to curate our neighborhoods to be places where we want to shop, we want to eat, we want to hang out, and you make some of the riffraff stuff feel uncomfortable and out of place.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about a lot of the hoods is that there's some tough guys, but they feel uncomfortable when stuff around is too civilized, and so if you start making it that way where more people want the civilization as opposed to the chaos, then they got to find somewhere else.
And that's human nature. Like even I've been at restaurants that if you put a really nice bathroom, people take more care of it. Mm-hmm. If it starts getting beat up, like it goes downhill fast. Just like it's just that, you make them, you put them in a better mind.
Like, oh, I should put that in the garbage can.
Right. Instead of just like,
Yeah, it does. It makes a difference.
Enjoying this conversation? Don't forget to subscribe to be alerted to future episodes. What's on Tap is brought to you by TappedIn, a restaurant marketing solution company dedicated to making restaurateurs' lives easier and their businesses more successful. If you are interested in seeing how we can help, head over to gettappedin.io to find out more.
And so you guys are obviously successful, and people can point to you and say, well, there's not racism. Look at what Chef Jupiter's been able to do. Look what Kurtis has been able to do. But what's your stories? What have you experienced coming up, either from employers, maybe not getting the job or getting an interview or getting worse shifts or anything like that? Has there been these experiences in your lives?
Because of my upbringing and because of my parents and my grandparents, who they were, that's I can't really speak from that perspective on. I'm sure it has. Maybe it wasn't overt and in my face, but I kind of knew how to maneuver through that. I mean, many times, I was, for instance, in school, I was only black a lot of the times, and
where was it at?
For instance, when I went to junior high school in Westmont, for a couple of years it was my brother and I think there was some twin black girls, and that was it. Been in sports, the only black kid, on the team and stuff like that, and then I had the mixture of that, and also had I was living in Broadview as well, so I was around blacks too, and then my church was in the city, and so I had a very balanced way, and I was always able to figure out which person I'm going to be in a sense, or behave a certain way, or present myself in a certain manner, and then so my parents also worked for. They always worked downtown in corporate environments, so we would go out to their bosses' homes and so forth, and my parents had the same experiences where they were. So I kind of already knew how to present myself, that I didn't really have that struggle. And I'm sure that there were some opportunities that I just didn't know, I just didn't see it. But I never really allowed that to be in my head that, oh, I'm not getting this because I'm that. And then even with my first restaurant was a sushi restaurant that I owned, right? A sushi hibachi restaurant. What? You understand? Like, it was always like, well, like, what is that, dude? And people used to make fun, like, what, are you Blackanese? So, I mean, so I didn't really, but I yes, it's there, but I think if the part of mentorship, and this is where I feel like, you know, people like us, we really, really need, and I see it all the time, even more so working at Cajun. I get so many black kids that come in there that are in high school that do not even know how to interview. And so they won't even complete an application. Well, if you're not going to complete the application, what makes you think you're going to complete a task? You understand? So things like that, where someone just needs to go in and kind of coach them, because maybe they just never knew. Yeah. You know, they never knew. So that's the thing, being coached and really us getting into, you know, getting involved and going back and teaching somebody.
Do you feel, you mentioned, you know, I knew how to act. Do you ever feel there's pressure to act a certain way, so to avoid a certain stereotype, perhaps?
Yes, and that could be, all right, even for, this was a relief. With Cajun, we do our music, you've been there, we do 90s, 2000s, R&B and hip hop. You know, we put some country and some other things in there, but it's mostly that. Now, it took me a long time to be able to play that music, to be quite frank with you. Even with all the other restaurants, I always felt like I couldn't, because if I played that, you know, you get the responses. So I always play like tech shit, like techno or pop, even though I didn't really want it. But I felt like I had to, right, to fit in, right? And then just dine out, I've noticed that in the city, dude, we can go to Au Cheval and they're playing like some old school, like hardcore. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, how come I can't be real? How come I can't be true to myself? Yeah.
That's what that is. And that's what has happened forever. You know, like it's you know, I saw a protester had a sign that said, you know, why don't you love us like you love our music, or like why don't you love us the way you love our culture? You know, because it's real. You know, it's like, you know, you ever go to buy one of these sneaker shops and see the line of people that's waiting for the new sneakers to drop and what they look like. Like, that's waiting for those new Jordans to drop. There might be 2 black kids in that whole line. And it's not because they can't afford it. It's because that's culture jacking. Like, now it's cool, you know, for the teenage and the young white male to rock his Jordans, and he rock it like he been rocking the Jordans, like it's that, you know, and so, you know, you go to what's that, you know, the sushi joint downtown, ramen, you know, it's hip hop, you know, and so it's, you know, it's a problem until others deem it's not a problem anymore, you know, and so I think you stay true to yourself, you know, but the teaching part is real. You know, I mean, I grew up, you know, middle class in New Orleans, and so I was in New Orleans. You know, you can't escape racism. You know, I choked a kid my freshman year in high school for calling me a nigger on a retreat. They had to call him up. And so,
what did Mom say about that, though?
Kid, Daniel Flores. I always give an occasional search on social media.
He's still embedded in your head, huh?
Yeah, you know, stuff like that, but you don't let some of those things go. I can probably tell you a story about every single time I've been calling anyway. And so, like, that's how deep that stuff sticks with you. You know, I can tell you every bad experience I've had with a police officer, you know, and all that stuff from a young age. You know, and so I feel that when you have to teach your children how to act around the police because you are black, that's a problem. Yeah. You know, but it's a necessity.
Yeah, you got to.
That is lessons that you have to sit down and have with your children, because you don't want them to not know how to act.
Right.
You know, and get scared. You know, getting scared is almost like a death sentence. You know, if you get nervous, then they get nervous, but they're supposed
to. It's like, why are you nervous?
Not to get nervous. Yeah. You know, and so, you know, to this day, I mean, I have businesses, I have a family, I don't do shit, you know, but driving home, that cop pulled behind me. I'm like, oh shit.
2 a.m.
You just get like that, and that's the program, and I'll probably be like that when I'm 70 years old. Because of that. It don't take one bad situation. One bad situation and things go real crazy. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. And so, I think that teaching is very important, and supporting programs that teach more than just the job service. Like if you have programs that understand the issues that blacks face in the home environment, and not having a lot of examples that are showing them how to be professional people, then you have to support that. It's an Impact Culinary program called Impact Culinary, and the thing that I love about it is that they're teaching professionalism, while teaching how to cook, but they're teaching professionalism first, and so they're taking on these stories, they're taking on these situations of, I didn't have enough money to eat. I was late because I'm literally exhausted because I haven't eaten in 2 days. Or they're facing, I can't get to work right now. Like I can't get to school. I don't have a way to get there. I live a little too far to walk, and I have no money. And so these are issues that I see, problems that I see with younger folks that work with me. And so like right now, like I deal with all of that stuff myself. I get them to work and I get them home a lot of times and stuff like that. But, they have to take away from that experience, no one else is going to do this for you. Like nobody. I'm not saying that you owe me anything, but nobody else. So you have to get yourself to the point where you don't require that anymore, and you can take care of that part on your own. You can get to work, you can perform, because no one else cares. And that's the reality. And so it was different growing up down there. It's a little bit more in your face. I felt like up here in Chicago, it's a little bit more of the hidden racism thing. Like if we don't talk about it, I won't say nothing. You don't say nothing, and we're all good type of deal. But I don't know when it will ever go away. You just look for black people are strong, and we strong, and we creative, and so we don't need the same amount of opportunity. We just need to get our foot in the door, and so. Get your foot in the door, and then you got to create opportunities for other people, and so, I'm always looking for people, that, is that a bee? Because I'll freak the fuck up. Because I'll be like, like cut, like fucking, I don't fuck with them bees. But anyway, it's to me, that's so important for us to have that, if you're at that platform, because like young black kids, they want to see us. They want to see like the successful people, because right now they need somebody to compare themselves to, and that's what any kid wants to be like, I want to be like that person or whatever. And so our communities, it's always some shit that's like so hard to, I got to get it in music, sports, like that's really the only way out, and that's what you see.
And it's only a few tickets for those.
Or you in the streets, and so, when you start seeing and you say, damn, that I really could be like him, like I look like him, I can be like him, and he's telling me how to get there, so I see a pathway, so that's important.
What was the name of the program then you work with?
That's Impact Culinary.
Other opportunities? Do they need more people? Do they need more money? What would help that?
Like programs like that can always use funding because of the, they get donated food, obviously, but for them to for those children and they're not really children. I mean, these are like young adults. For them to really have a really wide range of opportunity. They just need money so they can buy different things that they might not get donated and stuff like that. And they, like I said, they pay for their school and stuff. When they get done, they do a little 2-week internship. They pay them do that during that time, and so they really make it to where, look, we're gonna give you all the tools, but you just have to hone yourself, And so I have two Impact grads working with me now at Ina Mae. I have another 2 that should be starting soon. And so, I hope that becomes a pipeline for me to say, okay, look, you're going to Impact, because I have a high schooler right now. I call him my son. His name's Luis, but he's 16. He works harder than anybody I know, and so I'm like, he can't do it yet because he still has high school to finish up, and so the timing, but he's going to go to Impact, and they're going to get him right. He already been working with me for a year, and so he go to Impact, and Luis going to be ready, and by the time he's 19, he can go work anywhere. So, yeah.
Those experiences, though, coming up, I mean, back of the house, front of the house, jobs.
What do you mean?
Just any overt racism or opportunities you don't think you might not have gotten.
For me, not necessarily. This is the thing about what I did, and so like when I was cooking in kitchens, yeah, it was always like some shady stuff in kitchens, because I was like in fine dining kitchens, and so those were always like predominantly white. And tons of egos. Kitchens back then too, you still had a lot of drug use. Very few women, and the women were normally in pastry, and it was still like really brash talk. Like anything goes. It might be a fist fight in the alley at one point in time. And so that was when I was coming up and cooking on lines. And so yeah, but. My thing was always I gotta be the boss, because I didn't like chefs would talk to y'all crazy and stuff, and so I just didn't like any of that. So I'm like, I gotta get to the next level, and so that's why when I got that opportunity, I mean, I had just graduated from college, so I was like 22. Narcisse called me for Chicago because they was doing Narcisse Miami, that didn't end up working out, but I moved to Chicago. They moved me here, they got all my shit here, and I moved. And the chef that was supposed to be over me, I worked with him in Miami, and he left. He was like, Chicago, Miami's not happening, so I'm moving him out, And so I went to him and I'm like, look, I didn't move here to come and work for some chef that I don't know or whatever, so let me be the chef, And so, I mean, I was young, I didn't know shit, but I knew that I didn't want to work from somebody I might not like. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to figure it out. And then they gave me the job. And I never had a job less than an executive chef.
Your first job was basically exec chef.
Well, no, not the first job, but because I started working in kitchen when I was 16, in New Orleans. Yeah, but after graduating, my first job was the exec chef, and I never took anything less than that. I never felt like I should have been anything less than that outside of when I first got that job.
So what is that called? Confidence, right? Yeah. That confidence, and if we can instill that, and that's the whole point I was trying to make sooner. Like once we understand, okay, like it's not the man that's after us now. See, everyone is supporting us, right? So let's, as a people, let's get that out of our head. It may still be there, but overall, it's not about that. Overall, it's about our own mentality. Chef said, yo, I'm not taking anything less than that. He told himself that. He didn't need somebody else to say, oh, we're going to give you. He said, no, I'm not taking anything less than that. And that's what he did and went forth with. So as soon as we can get that same confidence, one thing I do not like to hear is when someone says someone else is privileged. I'm not giving you that title of privilege. Like, why am I telling you, oh, you're privileged and I'm not? That's what you're saying. So that means that you're putting someone else on a pedestal and you're telling yourself that you're not. No, we're all blessed. We're all privileged. We just got to tap into that mind frame and say, yeah, I'm blessed. And if I'm blessed and if I am God ordained, then right, exactly. Like that means I get the same opportunities that anyone else has. And I get the same things out of life that anyone else has. It's just that the only difference between that person and me is that that person knows it. For whatever reason, maybe it was the way they were raised, their life experiences, whatever. That person knows it, period. Now I have to come to an understanding that I need to know it. Chef knew it. He said, yo, I know what I am. I'm not becoming anything less.
That's what it comes down to, is tools, And so the tools of a household that is on a lower end of income, that are living in high poverty, they have no tools. And so they have no expectations. They have no hope, because they've never seen it, and so like exposure is huge. I open my restaurants all the time to high school field trips and I feed them shit that they wouldn't eat, because I know you're not gonna eat it. So no, I'm not giving you chicken, and I'm not. And by the end of the day, they'll come in and we talk about the restaurants and we talk about business and we talk about all of that stuff, and we'll feed them. We've done big cuts of meat and stuff for them, cut it up, and I always give them mac and cheese though, just in case they like really freak out, and so I know that they at least get full on mac and cheese, but the experience is hands down the greatest gift, because normally none of them would have walked through these doors to sit down and eat at one of these tables.
Did you have that? Was that instilled with you from your family, or is it just something innate in yourself?
Well, I like teaching, and so like that's why I did the Washburn Culinary Institute for a little bit, but I was still too young. Like I still wanted to get beat up by all this stuff for a little while.
But where did you get it from? Like at what moment did you pick up and say I have that? Well, what was it?
I think that I pushed myself into this leadership role a little bit early, so I think that in my force feeding myself information, I just wanted to give that back to people, and it started to just happen, I believe, because like I have a cook that still with me now from Narcisse, right? And so this was 2003. He's been with me the whole time. Jose was my dishwasher at Narcisse. By the time we left Narcisse, because he worked everywhere with me, by the time he left Narcisse, Jose was making everything, because foie gras, like everything. He was my dishwasher when I walked in there, and he only spoke Spanish, and I speak a good bit of Spanish too. I speak good kitchen Spanish, like I have a full-on conversation with your ass. You put me in a regular conversation, it gets a little fast, and I get a little nervous, but anyway, and so Jose, I taught him how to cook all kind of stuff, and it just. I think that and it burns me too now. Don't think it's all success stories in this. I've invested time in the people that have screwed me over. I've invested time in the people who didn't believe enough in themselves to keep it going, So it's just like, damn, and I tell people, I was like, your slot could have been someone else's. So, you can't mess this up, because then you're going to mess it up for the next person. Or you're going to make me so annoyed that I might take a few months off from this. Like, I can't do it for a couple months, and that's messing up somebody else's opportunity, to get a shot or whatever. And so opportunity is important to me, because I was given an opportunity before I probably should have with the Narcisse situation, taking that executive chef job. And so I think that opportunity should always be given, but a lot of people don't grasp the magnitude of the opportunity. In order to take it home with you every day, you study it, you got to really embrace that part of it too. It ain't easy. It's not easy, you're going to fall on your face a bunch of times, but
be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of pressure. It's tons of pressure. I mean, like I had staff, I had all of that stuff, and I was I was a still young man, So.
And as you mentioned, like the whole, especially the 2000s, that's probably when I was in the restaurant world. The chefs, like it's almost like a rite of passage to work for that hard ass chef who yelled and was kind of like angry and whatnot.
That was like the way of that was how you made it, And I tell people all the time, I don't have a list of chefs to live. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, I did time under so and so, and I worked with him and her or whatever, and my list is not like that.
That's probably a little bit of a good thing. You probably wouldn't have been who you were if you didn't find out on your own.
It did force me to kind of find my niche fast, because I felt like when I first started cooking, I was just cooking other people's food, and so whatever chef I worked for, I'll just like cook his food, but I'll add caramelized onions, and now it's and so it really gave me an opportunity to come into my own. So.
But did you ever feel like, first of all, your personality seems very mellow. Mm-hmm. Did you ever feel you had to hold back and not be the angry chef, or was it just not your personality in the first place?
Angry chef. They'll always tell you like, oh no, you crazy, you be snapping. But like,
yeah, we're gonna interview them next.
I believe in this. I think that you can't be that all the time, or it's over with. It's over with. Can I go there? Oh yeah, I go there, and I go there probably more times than I want to go there, But, if you always there, you know, the energy's just off. It's always like the energy's off, and no one wants to be there, you know. And so that in the restaurant business is the worst. Like, I'm firing you immediately if you start to mess with my energy. Like, if I come by and you list like negative all the time and stuff, best believe you on a list of get up.
Dude, we agree. I'm such an energy. Like, yo, get this person. I'll walk into one of the restaurants, and sometimes the manager, meet this, and I would tell them when they walk away, I said, get rid of them. That energy is horrible. Yeah. Like, and you just can't do it because you already know from experience that bad energy sooner or later is going to cost you money.
Oh man, that I wish that training and, you know, all the good things that you could probably teach in the restaurant industry, I wish that transferred as fast as bad energy does. You know, because I mean, you talking about you knock out, you know, you got a 2-week training program, you know, like if gossip and bullshit can travel in the restaurant faster than anything, it's like lightning speed, man.
Well, they've got all these shows, and I remember what's the one with the Rocco DeSpirito guy? Like, that was one of the first, like, quote unquote, you know, reality TVs for the kitchen. I was excited for that because I think that's interesting. But then it was all like produced and it was all over the top.
Yeah, he was a fool. Well, you know what's coming out now is that all of these chefs and stuff that was talking all crazy to people, now they got their tails between their legs, you know, and they apologizing and they running for cover because, like, you can't just treat people like crap.
They were only doing it because that's what they felt like they had to do it.
But sometimes you get, you know, like, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now, you know, and I get the stressful situations, but, you know, I'm not going to where I'm making people feel bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that some of those folks were so full of themselves that they didn't care about the people around them, under them, working for them, whatever, you know, and they completely ignored the people. And now, you know, everyone want to say I'm sorry, and I don't think it ain't enough.
Well, look at Gordon Ramsay. Like, he became a star because of being a jerk, and I don't even know if he's really that bad in his own kitchens or if that was for the camera.
I mean, you can tell he's crazy, but I think he matured, and I think he grew up, and I think he showed spots of it.
Well, they started getting for TV, you know, like, but his personality got him to TV. You know, that's got him to TV, and so TV always gonna want you to escalate it and whatever. Yeah, you know, but yeah, they say that Gordon Ramsay, say him and his brother, because he a bigger guy, you know, he's not one of the little bitty short chefs. You know, normally chefs are just short and angry, you know, and so.
This is not gonna be a show about bashing short people.
No. But, you know, that's how, at least the chefs I work for, you know, they be so angry, you know. And so Gordon got a little size on. They say he used to be fighting with his own brother in the kitchen. And they say he's crazy. So, but he had him a good run of restaurants, like, not closing. I think he had like 12 of them at some point for a good run, that 0 closures out of the 12. And when you're talking about, like, finer dining stuff, and that's tough, man. That's tough. That's tough. No problem.
Especially during the time, and then it was like a recession period, and for him to be doing that was pretty awesome, remarkable.
Well, then you got the article coming out in the social media about Fat Rice, their chef, you know, and a lot of it was stating he was racist, but most of the examples they gave was just him being an asshole.
I just think he was an asshole. I don't know. I know him, but I haven't hung out with him and that type of deal, you know. So yeah, I think he was just more of an asshole. That's kind of what I got out of it, you know, as well.
I think in the restaurant industry, it's kind of hard to be a pure racist, or you could be, I'd say, probably more sexist than racist a little bit. I think you're the diversity to so many people you meet, like, you just become an asshole. And like he's saying, you're just an ass. Yeah.
Well, like some of these places, though, you know that it was a restaurant out in where was it? In Baltimore that denied entry of a black woman and her child because they said that he had on athletic apparel, but then they showed a white child about the same age.
On that aspect, definitely. I mean, I worked for an organization, I won't say their name, literally rules. Everything that they did was catered so that blacks and Latinos would be not come. Yeah. I mean, even from, and to this day, you know, a lot of restaurants won't even carry Ciroc. Why? Because my people don't drink Ciroc. Or your people that come in here don't drink Ciroc? Like, really? So, like, I make it a point, and you see, I have all the flavors of Ciroc. I've always, like, I'm going to carry it because, like, it's too expensive. So is Grey Goose. You have Grey Goose here. Like, you know, like, so, like, you know, things like that, yeah, definitely, because they feel like the clientele that comes in, they don't want that clientele because whatever reason. You know, they say, oh, this and that and this and that. And I mean, Houston's downtown here in Chicago closed down. Why? Oh, too many blacks started to come there. They was making crazy amount of money. You know, I don't understand, like, why was that an issue?
They ran out of time. I worked at Houston's in Miami.
Uh-huh.
And it was, I believe it was the second highest gross in Houston's in the country. That one was, or whatever, for Mother's Day. I remember Mother's Day lunch, like just lunch shift. We did like 32,000 in sales. The lunch shift, right? And so like, it was so, I hated that job so bad, man. Like, cause it was just like volume and just like, but I learned to just, you come in there and it was like all Haitian chefs in the back, and it was mean. And they would just be like, you know, you come in, you're just like, every day I would cut a case of parsley, like fine chop, a whole case of curly parsley. That's the worst. You got calluses and shit. Like, but Houston's was just running out of time. And we see, like, now, those places, TGI Fridays, Chili's, you know, that type of stuff, they struggle in this market now because you have more casual small businesses that are going into these neighborhoods, whether that's the suburbs or wherever else. Like, I'm coming to eat at your spot before I go to one of those joints. You know, like if I'm out in Oak Brook, I'm out, you know.
I would love to go to a Fridays, right? If the food though was legit.
Yeah, but that's not part of the equation that made them money. You know, it was cookie cutter food that was coming in bags, frozen or whatever. Our sauces, we had, you know, we could sell it for $19.32 on a special for the riblets. You know, and you know you get it. You know, I used to eat at Applebee's all the time. We loved it. I love the riblets. You know, and so I was a fan. You know, but you know it just ran out of time. Olive Garden ran out of time because Olive Garden's some people, all these people that have casual pasta and a piece of, you know, like, and so. Yeah,
it's a generational thing at the same time. Like our generation, I feel like our generation now, we understand food in a way that maybe, you know, the previous generation did not. And so we're like, man, I don't want that.
Well,
like, are you serious?
Alone, like,
yeah,
like we see it, yeah.
Everything is just like in your face.
Yeah.
Shows like, you know,
it's in your face, like, so people know more.
Even with Frontier, right? They came at the cusp of that change, right? Mm-hmm. You know, they were one of the first restaurants, I would say, in the area that really catered to the palate, the adventurous food palate, and like, no, foodies go here. You know what I mean? Like, not just like, oh, we're just going to do this or do that. Like, foodies would come here and try some stuff. So that whole era, especially coming from Chicago, I think has like kind of changed.
I totally agree that it's generational. Like, I didn't have sushi, even though I used to be a GM of a sushi restaurant, until I was in my 20s, until I was in college. Mm-hmm. Like, I was meat, potatoes, and a vegetable. Like, that's your, you know. So it is true. It's just kind of fun to see it blossom.
Yeah.
So, do you have any recommendations then for non-black people who are listening, saying, all right, we posted our Black Lives Matter on social media, so we got our badge. But what other steps? What can we do?
Spend that money. Buy black. One thing that I've taken away from this whole thing is that I'm like searching for ways to do it now, and I think that's important. You know, like this lady came in Ina Mae last night, and she makes hand sanitizer, and so she had them on like a little keychain and stuff, and so she's a really nice lady. And with the price, like, so right now, all the booze companies have made hand sanitizer, right? And so, like, instead of me, you know, I literally bought a case of damn hand sanitizer that looks like it was Everclear, basically. Plastic bottles of Everclear. Like $130 at Restaurant Depot, you know? And I'm like, even if she charges $130 too, I'd rather give my $130 a her. You know, and so, you know, it's stuff like that, little stuff like that. Like, okay, if I'm gonna spend it, now I get that some businesses, shit, mine included, I can't take on higher costs on everything just to support a smaller business. But if you're talking about apples to apples, shit, all day long, then I have to make those moves. You know, I have to. You know, and so I think that's the number one. Because if you don't want to talk about, you know, like some reparations or something like that, then the only way to really pay it back is to go and you support those businesses, and you hope that begins to create some of that community wealth and start to make our neighborhoods better.
My thing would be to understand that it's okay to eat and dine and have this food and even try to cook our food. Like, it's okay to eat black things. You're not going to turn black just because you ate some soul food. You know, like that. So that's what I mean. Be more understanding, be more acceptable to it. I'm not, you're right, I'm not asking you to purposely go out and just do some shit. But if you like, yo, I see macaroni and cheese, fried chicken, maybe we can all go as a group instead of me just going in by myself, just me and my date. Like, let's make it a thing, like we do Taco Tuesdays. Yeah. Let's make it a thing. Let's make it a part of our culture that it's acceptable, just like the music, you know, just like it is. Like, we do other things like that because it's socially acceptable. Yeah. So let's make our food socially acceptable to do as such, and even be around our people like that as well. Don't be scared to be the only white group in the midst of a whole bunch of black people. You know, like, you don't have to run from it. It's okay. Like, so be more accepting of it. You know?
Great tips. Thank you guys both. You know, just to jump on the COVID thing too, I also wanted to just wonder what you guys have done and share with the audience. What have you done to adapt, and how much was that waiting and watching somebody else, what they're doing? Like, for instance, I know you guys were doing meal kits, and I know you're doing a virtual cooking class or something, which actually might be right along with Kurtis is saying, is teaching people maybe some of these.
With the COVID thing, I think it was a good thing because it allows us to look back into ourselves and realize that we do still have to keep ultimate sanitizing going and be clean and be fresh and make sure that we are taking care of our restaurants as well as ourselves, to make sure that we're delivering a great product. And I think most of all, that's what it's about. Like, how can we? Why do we have to advertise? Oh, we clean. Right? That should be already a known thing, that every time we get up from this table, right, it's clean, it's sanitized. I shouldn't have to market that. Right. But I think that we got caught up sometimes as, we just hurry up and we kind of cheat. And,
does it look clean?
Right. Does it look clean, right? And not really make sure it's clean. Not really make sure that at the end of the night that we're really thoroughly making sure that even the door handles are wiped down. Everything is sanitized, that we stay, healthy. And, even like if someone, I remember when we first opened last year, right? That winter, man, it was a flu strain that went out, right? Literally, that flu strain went through our restaurant twice. Everyone got sick twice, right? But I guarantee you, had we probably taken the necessary precautionary things that we do now, that wouldn't have occurred. That wouldn't have occurred.
I mean, you guys were doing 0 carry out or delivery before March 17th about, it went from 0 to game on real quick.
Yeah. On that aspect, we talked about it at the beginning of the year, right? We said, we want to get into more carry out. We put it on our agenda, and it just so happens that right when you guys loaded it up and set it up, everything, then literally a couple of days later, we had to shut down. It was like, let's go, whatever. So changing up the practices of it, that's probably going to change more often too with everybody. Like, more carry out is probably going to be a thing.
Yeah, I think we definitely have to plan for it. Yeah. I mean, we got creative, right when all of this stuff happened, and we stayed open the entire time for delivery and carry out.
how much were you doing before? Was it what percentage of your business was coming from that?
We weren't doing very much here as far as like delivery business or carry out, but we were doing a good bit of catering business here. But a lot of our catering is for larger groups because it's like pigs and shit that we send into places. And so, but Ina Mae, I felt a little bit more confident that one would be okay with carry out because we were doing a decent amount. We didn't have all the platforms set up or whatever, but we were doing a decent amount already. But so we shifted attention to here, meal kits like crazy, all the, family kits, and that stuff really started to take off here. And so that gave us a kind of a resurgence.
You think that's here to stay?
The meal kits? Yeah. Like we got too busy once we reopened the patio part or whatever to keep them going, but people keep calling about them, so we just have to figure out how to package it to where we can handle that and what we got coming in-house or whatever, but yeah.
It's good to have success problems again.
No,
We're too busy to handle all of it,
And then Ina Mae, I have that window, the snowball window. So that thing's been really busy. It's a line down the street for the snowball window.
And that was there from before?
It's just like a shaved ice, New Orleans style shaved ice. It's on the wood side. So yeah, that thing has a line all day, every day. So yeah, I think that you have to. It's taught us that you better be willing to adapt, because if you're not, then it could all go away really fast. It could all go really fast. And I think that we also learned that in a situation like this, the more you have, the more you lose. And so you really have to be positioned the right way, because we still haven't seen the bloodshed from this yet, because, it's just not talked about yet, but it's going to be some places that are going to make us be like, what? They closed?
I already see it. I've already seen like some places and I'm like, what?
Yeah. And somebody be just getting some extra, SBA loans or something that might be a Band-Aid on something that's too far gone to.
Exactly, And so yeah, I mean, this industry, this is all I've ever done my whole life, and so I would always brag that I get a job anywhere in the whole world. Because nothing will ever stop restaurants. Yeah. There's always people always gonna eat. They're always gonna get a job. Yeah. And then this happened, and you're like, shit, restaurants. And so yeah, it was that part. That was a tough pill to swallow. But like I said, we got extremely creative, and I think we showed a lot of these places in Chicago how to really grind this thing out. Because meal kits started popping up every damn where.
Oh, what about your virtual classes?
Yeah, so the virtual cooking classes, that was another thing that we did, and so we would sell a box of food that's already portioned out, recipe, portioned, everything, and then on Instagram at 6 p.m. I'll be on there and we'll cook it together. People ask questions, all kind of stuff, and so people were buying that. They were enjoying that interaction. We was really careful to give them recipes that we knew that they could execute, and so they started getting confidence. We had a few people that would buy every single time we did a virtual class, they did it, and so yeah, stuff like that, I just think that we had to, fight it out. Now it's been paid off, I think, because some people still didn't know who we were. That might have started seeing that stuff while they're sitting at home, and it's a little bit easier to make the top list when so many places close.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
So I'll take it how I get it. I don't care. But
I feel like this situation had helped one of our the Joliet location. I think, man, that everything's shutting down over in that area, and we were one of the only ones that opened. People were like, what? This place is here, even though it was newer. So it really helped. And now that we're gaining, it's like, you rode their way right up. Because like you said, other places were shutting down or didn't feel confident or whatever the case.
And then your product is good.
Yeah, it's
now
like
you got a fan forever now, and so that's what's up.
That was the risk of shutting down. Is your regulars would find new places to be fans of.
Exactly, and that was a risk, and so yeah. I mean, I think that
in every disaster, there's always going to be some opportunity, you know, and it just depends on how you're positioned.
That's how the top 1%, they love
Yeah.
opportunity.
Oh,
World pandemics,
they're loving it.
yes,
Yeah.
about to become richer.
You know, yeah.
Start buying stuff. So you buy low and sell high.
Yeah.
A lot of people do the opposite. Like, oh, the economy's great. Like, I'm gonna
So
buy
now
that.
I'm confident.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, if you you know, I always try to be in a spot that's, you know, ready for that next move, you know. So
Well, gentlemen, it sounds like there's some people starting to show up. I know it's about shift time here, so Kurtis, Jupiter, Brian, Jeff, thank you both for your time and insights. We appreciate your being open and sharing with us, and hopefully this is, you know, another step. We're all about taking these forward steps, so thank you very much.
thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks to Black Horizon for the beer.
Yeah.
Good IPA.